Hollywood's golden age looked glamorous on the surface, sparkling gowns, perfect smiles, and fairy tale fame. But behind those carefully staged photos were secrets studios never wanted the public to know. Actresses were controlled, silenced, and reshaped to fit an illusion sold to the world. Careers were built overnight, and destroyed just as fast. In this video, we uncover rare photos and shocking truths Hollywood hid about 15 golden age actresses. From forced image changes to secret relationships, mental breakdowns, and careers ruined by studio power, these women paid a heavy price for fame. What you're about to see was never meant for the public, until now. Judy Garland was sold to the world as America's cheerful sweetheart, but her real life was tightly controlled by the studio system. From a very young age, executives placed her on extreme diets and routinely gave her pills to manage her weight, sleep, and energy, practices that would damage her health forever. Rare behind-the-scenes photos reveal a visibly exhausted and fragile young woman, far removed from the joyful image audiences adored on screen. The relentless pressure to remain perfect led to lifelong struggles with addiction, anxiety, and emotional instability. Hollywood earned millions from Judy's extraordinary talent, yet failed to protect her when she needed help the most. Marilyn Monroe was far more than Hollywood's blonde bombshell, but the industry refused to let her be anything else. Studios carefully crafted her image, discouraging her intelligence and limiting her to roles that focused on beauty rather than talent. Rare candid photos show a very different Marilyn, quiet, thoughtful, often seen reading books or studying scripts between takes. Behind the glamorous smile, she struggled with deep insecurity, depression, and a constant fear of being replaced. She was exploited by powerful men and trapped by a persona she never fully owned. Hollywood sold her as a fantasy while ignoring her emotional pain, and only after her tragic death did the world begin to understand who Marilyn truly was. Rita Hayworth was born Margarita Cancino, but Hollywood decided her real identity wasn't marketable enough. Studio executives forced her to undergo painful hairline electrolysis, changed her hair color, and even erased her Spanish name to create a more acceptable image. Rare before and after photos reveal how drastically she was transformed to fit Hollywood's fantasy. On screen, she became the ultimate sex symbol, yet off-screen, Rita felt deeply misunderstood. She once famously said, "Men go to bed with Gilda, but wake up with me," exposing the painful gap between image and reality. Hollywood built her into a dream but never prepared her for the emotional cost of losing herself to fame. Vivien Leigh was the image of grace and sophistication, but behind the glamour, her life was marked by deep emotional struggle. Rare offset photos reveal moments of exhaustion and visible strain that Hollywood cameras tried to hide. Leigh secretly battled bipolar disorder at a time when mental illness was poorly understood and heavily stigmatized. Instead of receiving proper care, studios pressured her to continue working through emotional breakdowns, fearing delays and financial loss. The intense demands of fame only worsened her condition, leading to unpredictable behavior and health crises. While Hollywood celebrated her beauty, talent, and iconic performances, it largely ignored her suffering. Vivien Leigh paid a heavy personal price for the perfection audiences admired on screen. Hedy Lamarr was celebrated as one of Hollywood's most beautiful women, but few knew she was also a brilliant inventor. While the cameras focused on her glamorous image, behind the scenes she co-created groundbreaking technology that would later contribute to Wi-Fi, GPS, and secure communications. Rare photos reveal Hedy working with notebooks, schematics, and prototypes, a side of her Hollywood never wanted the public to see. Studios deliberately downplayed her intelligence, fearing it would conflict with the fantasy of her as just a stunning screen icon. Hedy's story shows how the industry prioritized looks over brains, yet her genius endured. Today, she is remembered not only for her beauty but for innovations that changed the world. Joan Crawford projected a fierce, commanding image on screen, but behind the glamour lay deep personal insecurity. Rare candid photos show a woman obsessively devoted to maintaining perfection, from her appearance to every detail of her public persona. She feared fading from relevance as she grew older, which pushed her to exercise extreme control over both her career and private life. Her relentless pursuit of perfection affected relationships with family and colleagues, earning her a reputation as strict and demanding. Hollywood admired her strength and work ethic, yet the same system that celebrated her also created immense pressure. Joan Crawford became a symbol of both success and the emotional cost of living under Hollywood's unforgiving spotlight. Bette Davis refused to conform to Hollywood's strict rules, and the industry quickly labeled her as difficult. Rare behind-the-scenes photos reveal her standing her ground against powerful executives and directors, often clashing over roles she felt were beneath her talent. Unlike many stars who silently obeyed, Bette demanded challenging parts and creative respect, fighting to be taken seriously as an actress. Her defiance made her a target, and studios tried to punish her career for challenging the status quo. Yet her persistence changed the way actresses were treated, proving that standing up for oneself mattered even in a ruthless industry. Bette Davis became a legend not just for her performances, but for her courage to demand dignity in Hollywood. Lana Turner was Hollywood glamour personified, but her dazzling image concealed a life full of turmoil. Rare candid photos taken during her most challenging moments reveal a woman under constant pressure and scrutiny. Her personal life became tabloid fodder, especially after the shocking murder of her lover, an event that thrust her into the public spotlight in a way she could never escape. Despite the chaos, studios continued to profit from her fame, promoting her as the perfect starlet while ignoring her private struggles. The relentless attention left her with little privacy, and she had to navigate fame, heartbreak, and scandal all at once. Lana Turner's story shows the dark side of Hollywood's obsession with image over reality. Ingrid Bergman was one of Hollywood's most beloved actresses, admired for her natural beauty and incredible talent. But everything changed when she fell in love with a married director, an affair that scandalized the public. Rare photos from her time in Europe show a quieter, more isolated life, far from the red carpets and movie sets she once dominated. Hollywood quickly turned against her, with studios branding her immoral and effectively blacklisting her from major American films. Despite the backlash, Ingrid continued to act, proving her resilience and dedication to her craft. Her story shows how quickly fame and admiration could turn into judgment, and how Hollywood often punished women for following their hearts rather than conforming to its expectations. Jean Harlow was one of Hollywood's brightest stars, known as the blonde bombshell, but her fame came at a steep cost. Rare candid photos reveal a fragile woman whose declining health was carefully hidden behind glamorous makeup and sparkling costumes. Studios, focused on profits, ignored warning signs and demanded she keep working long hours, often while visibly unwell. The relentless pressure and lack of proper care contributed to her untimely death at just 26. Hollywood celebrated her beauty and charisma on screen, creating an image of perfection, while concealing the suffering and neglect she endured off-camera. Jean Harlow's story is a tragic reminder of the industry's dark side, where fame often came at the expense of life itself. Ava Gardner was Hollywood's ultimate rebel, a woman whose talent and beauty made her famous, but whose independent spirit made studios wary. Rare off-set photos reveal moments where she openly defied studio rules, refusing to conform to the strict control imposed on stars of the Golden Age. Ava lived life on her own terms, drinking, loving freely, and challenging anyone who tried to limit her freedom. Hollywood attempted to shape her into a conventional starlet, but she resisted, maintaining her individuality despite the pressures of fame. Her rebellious nature earned her both admiration and fear, showing that true stardom sometimes comes at the cost of scandal and controversy. Ava Gardner became an icon of independence in a controlled industry. Olivia de Havilland wasn't just a legendary actress, she was a trailblazer who changed Hollywood forever. During the Golden Age, studios held enormous power over actors, controlling their careers through restrictive contracts. Olivia refused to be trapped and took the unprecedented step of suing Warner Brothers, challenging the system that exploited performers. Rare photos from that legal battle show her standing alone, determined, against some of the most powerful executives in the industry. Her victory not only freed herself but set a precedent that gave future actors more control over their careers. While Hollywood tried to downplay her courage at the time, history remembers Olivia de Havilland as a pioneer who bravely fought for justice in an unforgiving industry.